Hey guys, it's Christina. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys had and are continuing to have a great holiday season filled with many good treats and good food and all of that stuff. As promised in my last video, I'm going to show you guys how I make my vegan baked ziti. It's not very authentic at all, but it makes a great holiday main as well as a good meal prep dish. So I've made a couple versions of this last month and I don't get sick of it. It's honestly quite healthy, makes a ton of food, and is so delicious. So to start off, you have to make a vegan ricotta. For my vegan ricotta, I make a tofu ricotta. I use Caitlin Shoemaker's recipe. I'll link it below. You could also use a store-bought ricotta, but it's not really cost effective if you ask me, as well as it's really hard for me to find a store-bought version, so I do like the tofu one. It also packs much more of a nutritional punch with the tofu. For this version of tofu ricotta, it is just some firm tofu, cashews, nutritional yeast, seasonings, and that's really it. There's no oil involved. There's no miso paste. I used to use the Sweet Simple Vegan recipe, and that uses oil and miso paste and no cashews. And that version's good as well, but I find this one to taste better as well as be a little bit healthier. So I kind of prefer this one now. She says to boil the cashews, but I really don't think it's necessary. I actually really love the gritty flavor and texture that the cashews give. So don't feel like that if you don't have a heavy duty food processor or you forgot to boil the cashews that like you can't make this recipe, because you totally can. So after my vegan tofu ricotta is prepared, I prep my veg. I personally love using veggies and veggies only for this recipe, but I've also used like the vegan meat alternatives, Beyond Beef, Beyond Sausage. That would work really nice here and would probably be a more like good, more authentic, and like maybe if you were like trying to trick someone into eating a vegetarian dish, like that could be fun. But I really like the veggie version as well as it's more cost effective. So that's just what I personally do. For this version, I use mushrooms. I've also done eggplant as well. It's really your preference. And I also like to throw a whole bag of spinach there and let it wilt, and it just combines with the mushrooms to make a really good filling. I don't really do much with the seasonings on the mushrooms, just some salt and pepper, but you can do whatever you want. I think some balsamic vinegar would actually be really delicious, but I was going for simplicity. But yeah, after all your elements are prepped, as well as your pasta being cooked, of course. I didn't actually use ziti in this round. I used Barilla's Protein Plus penne noodles, just because I like them, and they make the dish a little bit more filling since there's no like fake meat or anything. It's just mushrooms. But yeah, I just like to layer it by doing sauce, pasta, ricotta, filling, and then repeat. Some other good filling options would be lentils. Instead of doing little pieces of eggplant like I've done before, you could also do like eggplant slices and make a hybrid like baked ziti eggplant parm situation. I think I want to try that next. That sounds absolutely fantastic. Some daring chicken could be quite good in this. The world is really your oyster with this. I don't know if I said that already. Why does it feel like I said that already? Sometimes I feel like I'm nearing 30 and I feel like my life is just me repeating myself. I'm not gonna lie. But it's also super fun to make this dish. Just very aesthetically pleasing. I've made it a couple times this month and somehow my layers always end up uneven. Like there's like a sloping hill by the end. One side is a lot higher than the other, but it always turns out fantastic. Another thing to note is there's been some variations I've made of this where I'll use like a vegan mozzarella or vegan Parmesan. It's actually really not necessary at all. Like I didn't do it for this round because I like didn't want to spend the money. Like things are expensive these days, and it's really not necessary. It doesn't add anything to the flavor, and you can still get a really beautiful, crispy, cheesy-esque top just with the tofu ricotta all on its own. So I add a little bit of oil at the end on top of the last tofu ricotta layer to help it crisp up. But honestly, when it comes out of the oven, the oil's kind of just pooled, so I don't actually think the oil is doing anything. So it's probably not necessary, but it does look nice and looks like just very home style. And I grew up like with Italians and like eating pasta on Christmas, and something about this dish around the holiday season just really, really like pulls at my heartstrings. So I hope you guys try making it sometime soon. And if you do, let me know. And now on to our regularly scheduled soup as part of soup season. A little bit of foreshadowing. This is not going to be the first soup. Wait, it is going to be the first soup, but it's not going to be the last soup in this video. This one is an Instapot friendly soup. I took it from Rainbow Plant Life's. It's like basically inspired by Rainbow Plant Life's white bean kale stew. It is carrots, celery, onion, potatoes, all those usual suspects, 2 cans of beans, so very, very hearty. And then I played around with the seasonings. I didn't quite do what she did. I used a mixture of rosemary and sage as my seasonings. And I think that's it. Maybe some red pepper flakes. Yeah, some red pepper flakes as well. And yeah, you just put that in the Instapot with some veggie broth and let it get good for like, I think like 10 minutes under pressure maybe. And then, it's a soup, so do some natural release for another 10 minutes at the end. And then you have the option to use an immersion blender after you release it. That's what I did. I got a little bit blender heavy, and I think I made it a little bit too like mushy for my personal preference, but it's pretty good. And then you add a bunch of kale, and the kale just like soaks up all that good soupy goodness, and it's very delicious, as well as makes pretty good hearty servings. I would say 4 large servings or 6 large servings. Same thing for the ziti, by the way. I didn't say that. The ziti is probably 4 large to 6 medium small servings. But yeah, we're on to another dish already because that soup was just too freaking easy. This is like let's say a drunk pasta dish, if I'm being quite honest. I forgot that I didn't have anything to eat for lunch after I should say eat for lunch the next day to bring to work. Oh my God, I can't talk. It's like I'm drunk doing the voiceover. But I had already had a couple of glasses of wines. Oh my goodness. But yeah, so I was kind of just haphazardly throwing together some vegetables, some tempeh, and some pasta to make a pretty healthy dish if I don't... Oh, I'm throwing vegetables. But a pretty healthy dish if I do say so myself. I think there was like 28 grams of protein in this thing with like maybe like only like 550 calories. If you haven't noticed, I keep talking about calories and protein content. That is something I personally have been on the watch for as of late. But like, it's really, if that's not something that's important to you, feel free to ignore that stuff. That's just something I've been kind of keeping an eye on with myself as of late. But yeah, if I had to name this dish, I would name it like balsamic pasta maybe, because the tempeh is cooked with a bunch of balsamic vinegar, and it gives the noodles kind of this like brown color when you mix it together, which sounds like it wouldn't be good, but look at it when it's done. It looks pretty good. And you could do it with whatever vegetables, but I actually quite liked the peppers in this. I would probably go for a red pepper for color, but at the time I made this, I only had a yellow pepper. As always, you gotta just add some spinach for health at the end. Another dish that I made that week was this vegan quiche recipe. It's from Shane and Simple. It's a veggie quiche. Well, it's not really quiche because there's no eggs, but it's a tofu base. So it's a tofu, nutritional yeast, and I want to say almond milk, I believe. I can't quite remember. I'll link the recipe I used below. But there's a bunch of veggies in it. There's like peppers, tomatoes, onions, mushrooms maybe? I don't know. I don't think I added mushrooms, but you definitely could add mushrooms. And the recipe doesn't call for it, but I also added some vegan feta at the top because I just happened to have it. This was my first time making any type of vegan quiche, and I was really, really impressed. It was super easy to make. Had to play around with how thick it was. It was a little bit too thick and wasn't really spreading in the cast iron that well, so I had to add a little bit of more almond milk just to get it to fit in the cast iron. And my oven's not really calibrated correctly, so I don't think I cooked it for as long as I should have. It seemed like it was cooked enough, but when I went to slice it, it didn't really come out in good slices. You see it kind of just crumbles apart there. It like some of the pieces kept their shape and then others just crumbled completely. So I just believe cooking it for longer would have been better, and that's more user error on my part because my oven is just not calibrated correctly. But taste wise, this was really, really good, and I would highly recommend it. I don't know what else to say. Really, really good, and I highly recommend. It's also quite stunning if you could get the slices to work out better than I did. If not, it kind of just looks like scrambled eggs, but really good scrambled eggs. And as promised, here is the other soup. It is a classic chickpea noodle soup, bringing out those usual suspects again: carrot, onion, celery, garlic. We're using a stock pot this time, and yeah, what else can I say? Chickpea noodle soup, a vegan classic. So, so, so tasty. I like my chicken noodle soup or chickpea noodle soup, whatever noodle soup, to use spaghetti. That's just like, to me, so nostalgic and classic. But I'm going to be honest, it logistically makes no sense. It is so hard to eat with spaghetti, and I am one of those people that refuses to cut my spaghetti in half. So I think next time I'll go for like rotini or something personally. Also, as mentioned in my last video, I was going to be making these pesto pinwheel things for a Christmas celebration. So here I am showing you it. I bought some Trader Joe's crescent roll dough. I believe many crescent dough rolls are vegan friendly, but the Trader Joe's ones definitely are. I bought 2 packages of that, and I just made the dough that it came in. I pinched them together to make these long sheets, spread it with their vegan pesto, some roasted red peppers, and then just rolled it up. This first round, I think I put too much pesto and not enough peppers, so it was kind of messy, but I love the nature of cooking. It doesn't really matter if it's messy. If you have good enough ingredients, it's going to taste good either way. As they say, it's all going to the same place. But after you roll it up, you just cut it the short side, like on the short side, and it just creates these beautiful little pinwheel shapes. And I would say this made about 16 little pinwheels for 2 crescent roll dough packages. Oh my god, my talking in this video is so bad. I'm so sorry. But it was really fun to make, really easy, and it looked super festive, as well as tasted really good. And you could definitely make more than just the 16 rolls because the pesto comes with enough to probably make like 50 rolls, to be honest. You really don't need too much pesto for this. And then you could do it with sun-dried tomatoes, other veggies, maybe some vegan cheese. I hate to say it again, but the world is your oyster on these rolls. I love a good template recipe that you can just kind of personalize and customize however you want. But these only needed to be in the oven for about 15 minutes, and then they came out looking absolutely stunning. It was also accompanied by some bruschetta that also looked so, so festive on a Christmas table. I absolutely loved how these came out. Thank you guys for watching this really like hectically voiced over video. I'm not quite sure why I was not able to talk today. I swear to God, I tried to edit this better. I filmed my voiceovers many times, and they just kept coming out like gibberish. Some days are like that. But thanks for watching, sticking around with me if you got to this point. Again, have a great holiday season, guys. See you next time.